I am Lequita Brooks, your social impact speaker and strategist. Welcome to Social Impact Sundays at 6, where we have massive social impact that leads to massive income. And today we have Jocelyn Sailor on the Social Work Movement docuseries. She is a school social worker. She's a school social work coach and consultant. She has tons of experience. She's doing some speaking. And oh my goodness, do our children need her, especially in today's society? Welcome, Jocelyn.
Thank you for having me, Lakita.
Yes, you are very welcome. So tell us, what inspired you to become a social worker?
Well, I always say social work was in my blood because my father is a social worker and then my mom's a teacher. So I feel like I kind of collaborated both of them and went into school social work. So growing up, I knew my dad was a social worker, but I didn't really understand what that means. He would say I help people and I'd just be like, okay. So it wasn't until I got my bachelor's degree in psychology and I started working in my former high school in a trio program called Gear Up, which basically the program is to help high school seniors get into college, help them with the FAFSA, bring them on college tours. So I did that work right after I got my bachelor's and I thought, maybe I do want to work in a school. Maybe I want to be a school counselor. So I researched that track and I felt like it kind of just kept you in a box. To be a school counselor, you can really just be a school counselor. You can't do too much else. So that's when I went to my dad and I started talking about different career choices. And he's like, why don't you become a social worker? I'm like, I know that's what you do, but what can you do with it? And then we got into talking about all the various careers you can get into with an MSW. And I'm like, this is perfect. I could actually work in the school system. But then in the future, if I want to do something different, you can do therapy, work in probation, hospital. The opportunities are endless. So I would say it came from my dad's influence of being a social worker, why I became one.
Thing I love about social work too is just you have so many options.
Yes.
You can do work with children one day, and then the next day you could be the president of a nonprofit, or you could be doing corporate social responsibility. Like,
Yes.
it's so flexible. So
So
tell us
flexible.
more about school social work and what you do as a school social work coach. And let's not forget about that consulting piece too.
Yes. So as a school social work coach, I kind of work in the middle. So if you think of systems, micro, meso, and macro within a school district, it would look a little something like this. So your micro system is going to be your actual school building with your school social worker, your teachers, your admin, your students. The meso level in school social work is going to be my position, which is a district social work coach, similar to maybe think about a school social work supervisor. So in my current role, part of the things that I do is onboarding of new school social workers. So being a part of that interview panel. And then when new school social workers come in, providing professional learning to them so that they truly understand their roles and responsibilities, how to work our systems, how to address crises, and so on and so forth. In addition to building the capacity of the new school social workers, we also collaborate a lot with administrators, special education teachers, and district leaders when it comes to crisis management, de-escalation, and other mental health aspects of students. They really look to us to kind of collaborate and give insight in regards to that and that kind of meso space. And then when you think of the macro level of school social work, you really think of the upper leadership. So like the superintendent, the chief of schools, the chief of academic support, the chief of student support services. Those people up top are really the decision makers. And there's a director above me that kind of sits at those tables to really be that sounding board for all the mental health aspects of students. So that's kind of my role in a nutshell.
And I really appreciate how you broke that down into our social working language, the micro, the meso, and the macro, for people to really understand where you fit. And that's a really unique role because I don't know how many school districts actually have school social work coaches. And I think we need more of those across the
Absolutely.
nation because you can see both perspectives. You can see what it's like for you have the viewpoint or the lens of what micro social work, the social worker who's boots on the ground working with the students day to day. So
Mm-hmm.
they're so deep in it. Sometimes they can't see other options. And then
Right.
you have the, higher ups who are disconnected with what's going on. They
Mm-hmm.
just see the numbers or the finances and the
Yes.
students and maybe problems, but they don't actually see, what's going on. So that is a really unique role that you get to have within the system.
Yes, it is. And I know my director kind of created this position. So we have a lot of school social workers in my district. So I'm in Hartford, Connecticut, and Hartford was actually one of the first cities to have school social workers, but the title was home visiting teacher. It was really a social worker though. And the goal of the home visiting teacher was to connect those students to school who face different barriers, whether it's transportation, medical issues, clothing, things of that nature. That was the main job of the home visiting teacher, AKA school social worker. So as the years went on, the title progressed into school social worker, and we're working both in the schools and also in the homes to connect students to get back into school.
Wow. Like I just love the progressiveness of them because I'm just like, oh my goodness, we need more of you in other
Yes.
areas. Like, oh my goodness, like your location needs to be the model for so many other schools. And I hope maybe one day you or your department or someone might actually do a training at the
Yeah.
conference on this model because I just see how it's so needed to have that social worker right there on that meso level to navigate between both of the
Yeah.
different, sections because it's desperately needed. And as a
Absolutely.
consultant, tell me more about that. And I want to say you're also licensed.
Yes. So I have my LCSW in Connecticut. I have my LICSW in Mass, which I don't know why Mass adds the extra I, but it's the same thing as the LCSW in Connecticut. So I do a little bit of therapy on the side. But as far as my consulting business, which is School Social Work Solutions, it was an idea that I had during the pandemic. Although it was a rough time, I had this bright idea to develop a planner for school social workers. So for years, I had used another planner called the Therapist Planner, created by Marlene Francois Madden, who's an amazing social worker. But during the pandemic, I was using the planner and I was like, man, I really wish there was something more focused for school social workers, maybe an area for all of my collateral contacts and an area to break down our role as a school social worker because so many school social workers feel like they're not respected and other people don't understand their role. I want there to be a place for self care because we're always putting ourselves last. And there's all these different ideas about what I wanted in a planner just for school social workers. So I went to my Google Docs and I just started typing. And then I kind of left it there for a couple of days. And I always call this divine intervention. I happened to go on Instagram and the therapist, Marlene Francois Madden, made a post and she said, hey, do you have an idea for a planner or journal? I'm going to be doing a masterclass to teach you how to do the whole thing. I was like, wait a minute. God, is that you? So I invested in myself. I took that course and I feel like it was life changing because I followed all of the steps to create the amazing school social work solutions planner. And from there, I basically created an Instagram page where I built a community and then eventually launched the planner. Then off of that, I kind of branched out into leveraging some of my own networks that I have and talked to some different people about presenting to their school social workers and just kind of pitching myself. Hey, I want to help build the capacity of your school social workers. I think that I have a really good idea of where some deficits are. Can I come train your staff? Luckily, somebody gave me a chance and then they told somebody else, and then they told somebody else. So we also have that prong of the business where I do some professional learning and consulting to school districts.
Amazing. So not only are you a school social work coach within the school system, you're also a social work entrepreneur who has
Yes,
a product that's
yes,
complementary to what you do to help other social workers be even better school social workers and even help you with your practice and seeing clients.
yes.
That is amazing.
Thank you so much. I love it. It's like my passion project. I had no idea it was going to grow the way it's been growing, but it makes me very excited for the future to hopefully do it full time.
Exactly. And what advice would you give to someone that's interested in being a school social worker?
Okay, so if you are in grad school, I would definitely encourage you to do an internship in a school. Ask a questions to whoever your supervisor is. Get your feet wet with running groups, with doing individual counseling. Make sure you're present during those crisis team meetings. Just be visible and learn all you can, because school social work is not something that you master in 1 year. I honestly think it takes about 3 years for you to really feel comfortable in your role, to have your good boundaries up, to have really good communication skills so that other educators understand the importance of what you're talking about when you're talking about mental health. So definitely do an internship. If you are already out of school and maybe you're in another career, I would look around and apply to different school districts and then do some research on what are some of the um, frameworks of that school district. Do your morals and values align with whatever their portrait of a graduate is, or whatever that school district's focus is? Make sure you're aligned with those things, because you could run into some ethical issues or some just issues in general. If that school district and your morals don't really align, there could be some conflict there. And then I would also say talk to other school social workers, see what they like about their job and what they don't like about their job. And then just give yourself grace once you get the job. Focus on one thing that you want to learn really well, and then build on that skill the next year and the next year. You're not going to learn everything in the first year.
Those are some really good tips. So basically, networking, really have a clear understanding of what your values are. Are they in alignment with the school district? And also give yourself grace. It's going to take time. And I know we have a lot of very pesky narratives that we want to get rid of forever. Good riddance, goodbye in the social profession. So what are some of those that you're like, I'm so sick of this narrative. It's time for us to get beyond this?
Yes. So I would say two things. The first being that social workers don't make money. That is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. And you know that's a lie, Lequita. Social workers really have to start thinking more creatively and more broad when it comes to their degree. You don't have to be chained to a 9 to 5, but if you like your 9 to 5, also think creatively about how can I either start a product based or a service based business to supplement my income if what your 9 to 5 is paying you is not kind of where you see yourself. Um, network, network, network with other social work individuals. It's so key. It is really who you're connected with that will help you get to the next level.
Great, great, great tips. And anything else you like to share with our audience?
Sorry, I knew there was something else I was going to say. The second myth is that school social work is an easy job. It is not an easy job. School social work is a very, very difficult job, because you are in the trenches for the full 8 hours of the day. There are so many different skill sets that you need to apply on a day to day, from evidence based practice to crisis management to de escalation to collaboration skills. All the skills that you would use in probably any other social work job are transferable to school social work, but by no means is it easy. It is difficult to set boundaries. It is difficult to put yourself first, but it can be done once you're very intentional about it. And I would also say that school social workers can make a huge impact on the school community and the school district as a whole once you're able to communicate your role, and then you're really ready to strap your boots on and get the hard work going. You can make a huge impact on the school culture and community as a school social worker.
Great information. You are changing the narrative, Jocelyn. And is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, if you're interested in the School Social Work Solutions Planner, please go ahead and you can follow me on Instagram at School Social Work Solutions. I'm on TikTok at SSW Planner, and the website is www.schoolswsolutions.com. You can also reach me on the website if you're interested in any speaking engagements or professional learning for your school district.
All right, Jocelyn, thank you for making an impact in school social work, our society is at large, and also just in how school social work is even done. Because you're in a very unique role, and I just love everything that you shared about basically getting clear on what you actually do and being able to articulate that. And that's the way to set a very healthy boundary.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome, Jocelyn, and thank you to our audience for joining us today. I am Lequita Brooks, your social impact speaker and strategist here at Social Impact Sundays at 6. Make sure you go to thesocialworkmovement.com to get involved. Once again, that is thesocialworkmovement.com. Have an amazing day. Ciao.
Bye.